Welcome to section 2 of TPI intake porting. This is going to be the last formal section where I actually sit here and give you numbers and show you the part. The rest of the videos are going to be I'm going to be showing the parts being flow benched, and you can actually see the numbers. Sometimes seeing is believing. We'll review real quickly. If you port this, what you can expect to gain out of it. And the good news is this is something, if you work on it, will give you a performance gain, okay? I know maybe watching the other portions of the video is kind of maybe discouraging, and I was a little bit surprised when I really started working with a flow bench that some of the stuff I've done before and what I've seen other people, I think you can conclude that it's not going to help you out, and if anything, it probably hurts you to a certain point. At the very end of this, I'm going to give you a brief summary of a couple ideas on modifications if you're thinking about upgrading your TPI or doing some work to it. A little food for thought on my experience and maybe a little bit of direction, but ultimately I think you'll be able to decide on your own and then what you want to do as far as modifying your TPI. Okay, so let's go over some numbers real quickly. First off, I only ported, remember this side it shows it's closer to cylinder 2, but this actually goes to cylinder 1, comes down to there. I only ported out this number 1 runner, and the rest of it is all stock, okay? I'll give you all the numbers for the stock numbers just so you have on hand. Now when I flowed bench this, I actually built it as the whole unit, okay? It has the plenum and it has the runners. And when I flowed this, it was the stock runners and the stock plenum, okay, to give you an idea. So pretty much it would be like what you would take off your car if you decided to pull it off and you ported it. This is what you would get as far as numbers go. So on number 1, the one that I modified, after porting it and flowing it, it flowed 200 CFM. Before porting it, the old one was 186 CFM. So there was about a 14 CFM gain. And also notice 200 CFM, that's not a lot of air movement to begin with. So remember though, this guy is, there's a reason why this thing shuts down at 47 or 5,000 RPM. It's because there's no airflow, as you can see. Even if you put killer heads on there and you leave all your stock stuff on there, 200 CFM is not going to do you any good, even if you have something that has a lift of 575 and an excellent flowing head that maybe flows at 280 at 550 lift. Well, you're not gonna, you're limited. This is the stopping point right here. So consider that too, as far as if you're going to modify and put aftermarket heads. You definitely need to have an intake system that's going to breathe for it. So quickly, I'm going to give you the rest of the numbers on just leaving it as stock. Number 3 is at 186 CFM. Number 5 port is 184 CFM. Number 7 is 185. Number 2 port is 185 CFM. Number 4 is 183 CFM, and number 6 is 185 CFM. Number 8 is 190 CFM. So yeah, definitely this thing is it is not flowing a lot of air. But the good news is that on average, from my experience, by what we've done by increasing this to 200 CFM, we've bumped up 14 CFM. So you can expect, if you do this work into these guys, that you're going to pick up 13 to 15 CFM on that. And that is a worthwhile gain. That could potentially give you a 5 to 8 horsepower gain, and plus it may give you a 15, maybe 20 foot-pounds of torque, which that's what you're after more or less for this particular motor, is maximizing the torque and getting more air into it at lower RPMs, and this will help achieve it. So definitely leave the stock portion. Factory alone seems to run the best, but if you work this, it will be worth your time, and there will be some noticeable gains out of this. real quick, I'll zoom in with some pictures, but when you work this guy right here, just an idea, when the air moves in, it actually travels and hits the bottom portion here. So notice there's kind of a lip that tends to be on these sides right here. Don't worry about so much the top working in it. I do clean it up, but air is actually flowing at the bottom of there. But when you work this and port match it on your backside, there's a bend on this side right in here that you're gonna want to work this particular area, be more attention, and try to streamline that as much as possible so you can get the most out of this guy. So yeah, the air the benefits will be more on this section right here than your front. It's a little less restrictive going in, but as you notice, it comes in at an angle. So you definitely want to streamline this particular area here. There's a pinching area right there. Take it down as much as possible, but don't go too light. I think I leave about 100 thousandths on the wall. I've heard that you can go with cylinder heads that you can go like 40, leave 45, 50 thousandths of material. So, but I always feel a lot better leaving at least 100 thousandths on there, and I don't think if you slimming it down that much is going to make that much of a difference for you. So now this is subjective as far as it goes. This is pretty much my opinion and my experience after flow benching and building my own TPI motor 383. I'm actually in the process of upgrading my motor to the TPIS, the Tips Mini Ram that they have. It's basically it's like an aftermarket LT1 intake. Being that I built my Corvette for road racing, and the cam that I put in there was the 280 276 XFI cam duration, it's set to go to 6,000 RPM. So I wanted the motor to go to 6,500 RPM potentially if it makes power to that point. But I've focused on mid and top, higher RPM in the top range horsepower RPMs for road races purposes. So this configuration is definitely not going to work for me. And also, after all my research I've done, I've never seen anybody with even aftermarket runners, anybody achieves 500 horsepower with a TPI motor. It's not possible. So do take that in consideration. If you're going to build up your TPI, consider what you want to do. Now, I know there are some guys out there that that like the stock appearance and don't want to change it. Now, my best advice to you is, and again, take some time and find that article that was written by Super Rods in 2005 of February. It's an excellent article, and they just about test every aftermarket runner plus aftermarket intakes as well. And I think from my research, they pretty much hit it on the head. So if you like the stock appearance of this one, definitely you can port the bottom half and get just as much out of the Edelbrock big mouth runners. I don't think you're going to find that much if you port this or whatever for the money. If you have this already and you're pretty good at porting, or you send to somebody, you're probably going to get about the same results out of that guy. But as far as the runners go, I would recommend, I don't believe Tips TPIS sells it anymore, their big mouth runner, but Arizona Speed and Marine still sell it, and they advertise it as flown at 260 CFM or 270. Chances are if you put it on the plenum and you open it up, port match it, it's probably only going to flow about 230. But they do say that with a ported lower and that runner and ported the plenum, on a good 383, they were able to achieve 450 horsepower. So that and it seems about like 5,500 RPM is where you get the max out of it. So if you like that style and you want to keep it as just an all-out torque motor, and I think that they say that that's about 500 foot-pounds worth of torque. So those would be, I mean, certainly if that was what I was building, and I just wanted to maintain that look, that's what I would put onto my setup. And debatable on putting a 52 millimeter on, depending if it's a big inch motor, 383, yeah, maybe. But if you're running 350, I would stay with the 49. I don't think there's going to be much to gain out of it.